The phrase tech for good has become strangely hollow. It appears in mission statements, pitch decks, and conference panels. It is invoked generously, yet often examined superficially. Somewhere along the way, altruism became a branding exercise rather than a design discipline. Today on A4 Digest, I want to slow that conversation down, not to criticize technology, but to interrogate intention, not to romanticize altruism, but to understand what it demands in practice. Because real altruism in sport and science is not loud, performative, or convenient. It is structural. Technology itself can be neutral. Sensors do not care who wears them. Algorithms do not feel responsibility. Platforms do not experience consequence. Impact emerges not from capability, but from deployment. This is where many well-intentioned projects fail. They focus on what technology can do rather than what systems should do, and that difference matters. In sport, technology promises optimization, faster recovery, sharper decisions, reduced injury risk, longer careers. But optimization without ethics quickly becomes extraction. When athletes are treated as data sources rather than human beings, performance improves temporarily and then collapses under long-term cost. Injury rates rise, burnout increases, trust erodes. The body always sends the bill later. In science, the pattern is similar. AI accelerates research, analysis, and dissemination. It compresses timelines and multiplies output. But when speed becomes the dominant value, reflection disappears. Corners are cut. Context is lost. Human consequence is deferred. The system looks productive until it isn't. True altruism begins with a different question. Not what can we build, but who does this protect? Protection is rarely glamorous. It involves restraint. It involves saying no. It involves designing limits into systems that could otherwise scale unchecked. In both sport and science, the most ethical technologies are often the least visible. They prevent harm quietly. Consider injury risk reduction technologies. They rarely make headlines. They do not promise spectacle. They simply reduce risk, preserve health, and extend careers. From a commercial perspective, they are less exciting than performance amplification. From a human perspective, they matter more. Altruism often lives here, in decisions to prioritize longevity over immediacy. One of the reasons tech for good struggles is incentive misalignment. Markets reward novelty, not stewardship. Institutions reward output, not protection. Visibility is rewarded more than care. As a result, many altruistic projects remain underfunded, undervalued, or unsustained. This does not mean altruism is incompatible with viability. It means it must be engineered, not assumed. Athletes understand this intuitively. They know that pushing beyond certain limits feels productive until it becomes destructive. They learn, often painfully, that not every gain is worth the cost. Science and technology need the same embodied wisdom. Progress without feedback becomes reckless. Altruism is often misunderstood as softness. In reality, it is a form of discipline. It requires asking uncomfortable questions early. 1. What happens if this system scales? 2. Who bears the risk? 3. Who benefits and who absorbs the cost? 4. What happens when this technology fails? These are not obstacles to innovation. They are conditions for sustainable innovation. There is also a deeper cultural shift that is required. Altruistic technology does not center the builder. It centers the user, particularly the most vulnerable one. And so user experience, or UX in this context, matters. In sport, that might be the young athlete without institutional protection. In science, it might be the community affected by research outcomes, but excluded from decision-making. Altruism demands humility, and humility is difficult to monetize. This is where the convergence of the A4 framework becomes essential. AI provides capability. Academia provides understanding. Athletes provide embodiment. And altruism provides constraint. Without the final element, intelligence accelerates faster than wisdom, and history shows us where that leads. The future of innovation will not be defined by who builds the most powerful systems. It will be defined by who builds systems people can trust. Trust does not emerge from claims. It emerges from consistent protection of human dignity, health, and agency. Tech for good is not a category. It is a commitment. A commitment to design with consequence in mind, to prioritize long-term well-being over short-term gain, and to remember that optimization is not the same as progress. In sport, science, and society more broadly, the technologies that endure will not be those that impress the fastest. They will be the ones that care the longest. And that may be the most radical innovation of all. Until next time.